Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's always good to see the passion and the engagement when it comes to the topic of education. I must say I'm not a professional educator or an expert in education, but I would say I have a strong passion and interest in the technologies that are used in educating our children and our young people. So in the next 15 minutes, I would like to share with you the role of one of the technologies used in education, which is wireless technologies in higher education in particular, but overall how the role of wireless technology in wireless. Whether we are educators sitting here in Delhi or Dallas or sitting in Mumbai or Manhattan or Singapore or even Sydney, there is one common shared mission that all educators have. And that is, it is the mission of educators to prepare our young men and women, our students, to be the next citizens, to lead our nations, to be the productive forces of our nations. It's also the shared mission to give these young people the tools that they need to compete and survive in this globally connected world. It's also the mission of educators to ensure that these young people, whether they are sitting in the middle of an urban city like Delhi or sitting in a small village in the foothills of the Himalayas, to give them the tools they need to be productive members of their societies and also to enrich their lives. So that is a mission that educators share around the globe. Now, what we're finding is, as we look around and how different educators try to achieve this mission or reach this mission, we find that technology is playing a real critical role in our day-to-day delivery and, in fact, in our education systems. That was very true today if you were out in the exhibition hall where there were all kinds of exhibitors showing technologies of a wide range of fields that are all used in the education field. So before I get into the wireless technologies, I wanted to share with you some of the trends that we're seeing in the education field that you might find applicable or also resonate here in your own particular fields. One of it is on the instructional area, we're finding the things that are driving the adoption of technology or the need for the technology to evolve is the whole concept of personalized instruction. This is the notion that a single teacher being able to deliver customized lessons to multiple students. In a traditional concept, that's very difficult because in a classroom with a blackboard and a chalk, you only have one teacher and you've got 40 or 50 students. When we start talking about digital content, digital delivery of lessons, and when we talk about students in the classroom having their own individual laptop or netbook or some kind of screen to receive that lesson, that's when you get the idea of personalized instruction coming to light, where a teacher could customize the content so that the lesson could be delivered at different pace for different students or different areas of focus. So we're starting to see the next level of evolution in terms of how lessons are being delivered, how textbooks are being replaced by digital content, especially in the areas of science, math, and technology, where things are changing so rapidly, textbooks cannot keep up with those changes. So the idea of having digital content that's up-to-date, current, that's available on a server somewhere. In fact, the distinguished speaker ahead of me was talking about the whole notion of content being available on a cloud server or somewhere in the internet, but making sure that the right content is delivered to the student. These are all the trends we see in the instructional area that are driving the adoption of technology. In terms of IT trends in the schools, we're also seeing that schools are now becoming very sophisticated IT centers. It's no longer a place where you have chalks and whiteboard and blackboards, but rather you have very sophisticated IT centers in the schools that are now having computers, servers, IT professionals, and the latest technologies in wireless, in content delivery that are being set up in the schools. Also, if you look at the administrative side, in education, delivering content, lessons, and also ensuring the safety of students, as well as making sure that we do more with less, in particular in this day and age where the technologies that are used in education are not cheap. So a lot of the school districts and a lot of the school systems do have limited budgets and constraints. How do you then, as an administrator, maximize the use of technologies with limited funds and availability of resources? So these are the trends that we're seeing more and more as we look at the educational landscape. So 21st technology essentials in education. First of all, it's about the tools. There was this interesting discussion earlier on. And the tools we're talking about is how do we create access to the hardware and software that the students need to be able to get the lessons that they need. Skills. The skills to be able to be independent thinkers, as one of our guests mentioned here, but also have the creativity and the problem-solving skills that they need by using these technologies. In fact, there's an interesting quote from Albert Einstein. He said, education is what remains after one forgets everything they've learned in school, which means in the school systems, we go in there learning skills on how to solve problems, how to look at the world from a different angle, and how we look at the world outside of ourselves, and not just remember the formulas and the periodic tables that we learned in school. So that is what technology enables us, in particular when we talk about the modern technologies we have available to us. Now look at how education and our lifestyles are merging for our young people here, using Facebook, the social media, the same kind of media that they use to also get their lessons, their information. So we're seeing technologies merging the line between, or blurring the line between formal education and the informal education that we have around us. It's also about the effectiveness and efficiency of delivery of lessons and learning. And this is true, again, whether we're in an urban school or in a small village. How do we get the maximum efficiency and effectiveness by using technologies to be able to maximize the learning process? With that in mind, then, when we look at what are some of the key elements of IT implementation in campus and schools, we see that one-on-one computing is very big. As most of you might know, especially if you're my age, when I was going to school, especially university, there was only one computer lab. If we need to get on the computer, we went to the computer lab. Nowadays, most of our students in the universities, they don't think about a computer lab. When they need to learn programming, or when, in fact, they need to learn anything, they have the computer in the classroom. So that one-on-one computing concept is critical, and we're starting to see that devices are getting more and more into the classroom, and lessons are being delivered to these devices. Self-directed learning is also a big concept, whether it's in the classroom or outside of the classroom. Again, this is being enabled because of the technologies that we're having, or rather the use of technologies to drive this concept. The other one is collaborative learning. This is where students in various classrooms could have one instructor, but they could learn collaboratively because an instructor could share the same lesson or different lesson plans to different classrooms, to different groups of students. That's also one of the drivers in making sure that the technologies are in place to achieve that kind of, or support the trends that we're seeing there. And then finally, it's about